Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. And today we are talking about one of the world's worst companies, Meta, aka Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc., etc. And quite frankly, they just continue to suck, and it is getting worse. Now, this news is coming out of the EU, but I promise you this is going to affect Americans, Canadians, Australians, and everybody else on the planet because they just really don't care about the law. Now, Ashley Bellinger of Ours had a really good write-up, and here's what's going on. As according to privacy watchdog group NOYB, or Noob, basically Meta is requiring EU users who have already opted out of AI training in 2024. These users have already opted out last year. They now have to opt out again or forever lose their opportunity to keep their data out of Meta's models, which are basically training data for their artificial intelligence. So this really does seem like yet another violation of GDPR, or the General Data Protection Regulations, in Europe. And to quote Noob, Meta informed data subjects that despite the fact that an objection to AI training under Article 21 GDPR was accepted in 2024, their personal data will be processed unless they object again against its former promises, which further undermines any legitimate trust in Meta's organizational ability to properly execute the necessary steps when data subjects exercise their rights, end quote. And yeah, that's basically it. You've already opted out. You've already told these jerks, don't use my data, don't train. And now they're quietly saying, well, we need you to do it again. This is also the company that I promise you as well, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think they have an operating budget in the billions just to pay the fines for GDPR, etc. around the world, because with the amount of money they make, these fines are slaps on the wrist. They're making way more, so why actually stop violating privacy? You can just be performative in court and say, yeah, we're trying, we'll build a policy, blah, 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 and then they don't do anything, and here we are once again. So this alleged lack of clarity, basically that Meta has just created by opting out again, essentially makes it harder to trust if you can actually truly opt out. And yeah, you really can't. And quite frankly, I think they're just data mining us even when we opt out or whatever it is, and they're just not telling us until it's discovered. And again, that's my thought on this, but knowing how terrible this company is and how terrible Mark Zuckerberg is, I think that's true. Now, the letter also accused Meta of further deceptions, like planning to seize data that users may not consider quote unquote public, like disappearing stories that are typically only viewed by small audiences. Remember, if you can set a post to, let's say, burn after an hour or whatever it is, you are running on the assumption that it's gone forever. Nope. They've got a copy of it. The same issue with Snapchat, basically one of the largest FTC fines at the time, back in about 2012 or so, when Snapchat wasn't actually burning everything. They were storing copies of everything in their data centers, and guess what got hit by hackers? So, on top of this, basically, Noob is saying this differs significantly from AI crawlers scraping information posted on basically a public website, right? Because if it's going away, the crawler can't see it. But since they have all the back-end data of what you've posted, which automatically burned, they are still using it. Now, in a statement, Meta's spokesperson defended the opt-out approach, noting that, quote, we provided EU users with a clear way to object to their data being used for training AI at Meta, notifying them via email and in-app notifications that they can object at any time. But the problem is, and we all know this because we've seen studies on this, that people essentially, like if you see a pop-up or notification to accept a license agreement or update or something, you skip it, you ignore it, you make it go away because you're just trying to go from point A to point B. Most people aren't going to go into the settings and find where to opt out, all these kinds of things. It's a huge, huge issue. And I think that, quite frankly, it's once again time to shut Meta down and all of this stuff. And also, as I've said multiple times before, it's time to put Mark Zuckerberg in jail. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter, where you will be data mined and they will pay the fines and keep on rolling, and they suck. And the only reason why I'm on these platforms is so that I can tell you to get off of them, and then I'll be the last one off the battlefield. But quite frankly, I hate these organizations. You can also follow me on YouTube. Google's not that much better, but again, here we are. Blue Sky hopefully is a little better. I'm there too. And Mastodon, which I think is probably the best of all of them. But as always, stay safe, stay online, and please, for the love of God, attempt to stay private. Take care.